that what I have been trying to say to those who come to listen to me, and to those who care to listen to me, that what I have been saying has nothing whatsoever to do with religion. We have all been told, and some of us have been brought up, that by accepting certain beliefs and trying to live up to them in our daily lives, and that by due steps we aspire to become religious, spiritual, or whatever you want to call. I'm only describing a state of being which is a pure and simple physical and a physiological state of being. It has no religious content. I'm bound to repeat this again. It has no mystical overtones whatsoever. So that is the difficulty. Probably you want to discuss very strange religious subjects like attachment, detachment, inner refinement, sensitivity, and maturity, and so on and so forth. I have precious little to say on those subjects. You can practice attachment or detachment for the rest of your life, but you will never be free from either attachment or detachment. You will always be caught up in the two. Let us keep the routine that why am I talking? Now I would say, why are you here? Because you are here, I am talking. So we skip all that. And if there is anything that you want to discuss, I'm ready. I have nothing to say, nothing whatsoever to say. You all have some ideas about this, I believe. Maybe some of you are here for curiosity.
You talk about being selfish.
In any case, you are selfish, aren't you? Yes. Wanting to mutate or to transform yourself also springs from selfishness. You may not like it, but it is so. Anything you do on any level, in any direction, is strengthening the self.
Do you know the Priku Sandhus of India?
I don't know anybody in India. Is he a religious man?
The palm leaf oracle, palm mantras and so on.
No.
No.
That as long as you ask yourself the question, why not me? Why should this happen to somebody else? There isn't any chance of your making it, if I may put it that way. I have to use the word making it because you're all trying to make it, whatever you want to make it. It's a thing which you cannot reach, or is there any word like make reach, or a get-atable thing. It's all the such in such of this non-existent thing. That thing called enlightenment seems to me futile. And the futility of the search is what I have been trying to communicate with those who come to see me and care to listen to me. I have also explained that the so-called enlightenment, self-realization, God-realization, or what you will, is a pure and simple physical and a physiological state of being. It is just the pulse, the beat and throb of life. What one can do is to let it function in its own way. But the practice of virtues is not the foundation for it at all. It does not mean that I am suggesting that the opposite of it should be the way of life. There is nothing to do. You're all the time interested in doing something. That's the one thing where you don't have to do a thing. If you can be that, just that, you are in that state. It is not my state or somebody else's state. That's your state. That is your natural state. That's the way you're all functioning. What prevents that to give expression to it is this movement of thought. You're all thinking about it. That's a thing which you can never capture in terms of thinking. You cannot think about it. You cannot want it in terms of thinking. I think I have said my say. Said my pieces, as you put it. The one thing I can do is to repeat again and again and again. It is bound to be repetitive because your questions are repetitive. You ask the same old question. The answer is bound to be the same old one.
This is a question. That springs from thought naturally, from observation.
It's a long question. Can you put it very briefly? Education is not the way to it. I was telling some friends yesterday.
Very briefly. Would this status that you said is natural life is possible for a child?
The child is in that state. He's in that state. He's in that state. Maybe the child is ignorant, you see. I don't know, it is useless to speculate the state of children. You can't remember how you were like when you were a child. You cannot educate people in any particular way. I was telling some friends yesterday. I went to the very ordinary school. I went to the colleges run by Catholic missionaries. Am I any the worse for it? I didn't go to any school where, you see, they tried to create an atmosphere of freedom and all that bunk. I went to very ordinary schools. I questioned this. What's the difference between Lord Krishna, the Hindus talk about, and this Jesus Christ that these people are trying to drill into my ears day in and day out? There seems to be no difference. I believe in Krishna, they believe in Jesus, somebody else believes in Buddha. So that helped me to understand the absurdity of the whole business. I'm not any the worse for it, am I? I'm sorry.
I think what he is saying,
maybe I misunderstood it.
Is it inevitable that human beings catch themselves, that they're traps set to catch themselves in this ego illusion? Or is it possible for them to be born and avoid all of that misery and so on and so forth, all that illusory snafu?
Is that what you mean?
Only you emphasized education.
Yes. No, I said it was enough the answer that the child is living this natural life. You know? But if it is so, we can say that if a child is with a, let us call perfect person, he will become a grown-up in that peculiar state without losing it.
You see,
in the case, if a child is living,
is it inevitable that he lost?
It is inevitable.
No, the perfect individual or the perfect human being is a myth created by the mind. Each child is individually unique. The child, for it or her or his own reasons, whatever is the correct word, wants to fit into this framework created by you and me. So this is the problem. You exploit the child, and child allows itself to be exploited by the society. So it is a vicious circle. And we are superimposing on the child the idea of a perfect human being. That's the problem of the religious people. They are telling you there is no such thing as a perfect human being at all.
But if the child did have none of this superimposed on it, would it grow up in its natural state without having sort of a paradise lost period?
It is a hypothetical situation you are discussing. I don't know.
I think if you put the question otherwise, even further logically, the question is that is evolution a fact, and is there a reincarnation? Because are the people born perfect, or are they the product of evolution, not perfect, and in evolution to become? So I think basically the question.
Well, this is a question that is born by our thinking process, because we have been taught about evolution, about this and that, who knows.
But he doesn't know.
I don't know if a man that is a liberated man, so to say, just to say, knows more about evolution.
No.
He
doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything.
I understand this. There is no
He is liberated from this search. That's all. These are all foolish, stupid questions. That's all. I don't know if there is any such thing as reincarnation. But the question is, are you born? It may sound very funny to you to ask the question, are you born? Can you tell me?
Physically, you mean?
Yourself. Can you experience your birth?
Remember, by experience, remember?
Your own birth?
No, you cannot remember.
So how can you assure that you are born?
We are sure.
It is logic. It is logic. It is rational thinking. Your own birth can never become part of that experiencing structure. It is a statement, you say it is a conclusion, call it by whatever name you like. You have no way of experiencing your own birth or your own death. You will probably experience the death of somebody else, but not your own death. You are not going to preside over your own liquidation. So neither your birth nor your death can ever become part of that experience.
About birth, I can agree. But about death, we cannot agree because we
will have
experience it. So I don't
you experience the death of others.
Well, we experience also the birth of others, but it is not the same thing.
See, you experience the birth of others and the death of others too. And it is your hope that probably you will experience your own death, but there is no guarantee that you will experience your own death, because this structure which is interested in understanding your own birth and your own death won't be there. You become conscious of things. How do you become conscious of things around you?
By memory. Memory. By memory. The memory that I have experienced.
Thought.
After.
It is thought. So in exactly the same way you become conscious of yourself through thought.
Yes.
Huh?
There is no other way.
There is no other way. So is that yours, that thought?
There is nothing worse in thought.
That is not yours. The thought, see, through which you think you are conscious of yourself, belongs to everybody, not yours.
It's the same thing with everybody.
Yeah, everybody. The thought belongs to, the thoughts you are thinking are not your thoughts. They belong to everybody. So what is so special about you?
The special is that individually one feels pain and not feel the pain of everybody.
Yes.
Sympathetically one can just commune with others, but one feels its some ache.
All right.
And this is peculiar because the ache makes me
That is all right. You see, if you do not use the thought which everybody else uses to experience pain, is there a pain?
Well, also the child. Also
Leave alone the child. Leave alone the child. Yes, I am asking you now. You say there is a pain. How do you become conscious of pain, or how do you experience what you call pain? It is only through the thought which belongs to everybody. So if you do not experience that through this thought which is everybody's, Is there pain which you can call your own pain? The pain may be there.
This may be, but it is something that it is not important for me, because I feel pain. It is useless to speak about a state in which eventually there will be no pain.
No, I'm not talking of any...
Actually, I feel pain.
I am not talking of any eventuality at all.
Without
the concept of pain is...
No, he is talking of consciousness. He says, I am conscious.
Right.
I am
But
conscious.
even the pain doesn't belong to, even the concept is the wrong word, but even the idea, the thought of pain.
The pain is
also
there. The pain is there.
Yeah.
Whose pain is it? I'm not discussing metaphysics. Whose pain is it? Is it yours or mine? It is not mine, it's not yours. And whose pain it is?
I can see the reaction.
Hmm?
There is a reaction, an automatic reaction in me. When I feel pain, automatically I try to avoid pain. This is what is going on. Maybe it is wrong, it doesn't matter. But this is what actually is going on.
What is pain?
I don't know.
You
You seem to know. You seem to know. I don't know what you're all talking. I want to understand what exactly you mean by pain. How do you become? How do you experience pain? How do you become conscious of your pain? I am not mystifying anything. It's a simple physical thing. You see, it's not. I'm not mystifying. Don't introduce the psychological and physiological. There is only one pain.
We cannot know how we feel pain. We just feel pain. I don't know, maybe everybody does not feel pain.
It's the same, everybody is exactly the
I
same.
personally feel sometimes an ache, sorrowful, also psychically speaking.
Yes, I know you are introducing psychically.
Dualism.
I'm only...
But for me it's important just physical pain, just to...
You know,
I am conscious of my physical pain when I had toothache.
Yes,
I am conscious that I had toothache. This puts me in a reaction. I try to go to a doctor to do something about this, so I move. This is true. And this is also something that makes me become
you become conscious of pain through thinking, whether it is your toothache or stomachache or headache.
Before
The ache is, look here, the ache is there, the toothache is there, the headache is there, the stomachache is there, all the other aches are there. So you become conscious, what you call you. You become conscious of these pains only through thinking. That is all that I am pointing out. If the thinking is not there, you do not know what that pain is, whether it is toothache or stomachache or headache or what ache it is.
Yes. As the thinking is there,
Then there is no activity of pain, you see.
And the animals.
Well, let's forget about the animals.
Forget everything else.
But then with this silly thing that I used to do, or still do, that if I have a pain, I can disconnect and the pain stops. I don't know how to explain it, but I disconnect the thought and then there's no pain.
What?
the word much more means that there is a less more ache.
Yes.
Continuing.
Yes. So you cannot, look here, you cannot separate it, you cannot separate yourself from pain, and you are separating yourself from the pain all the time. And what separates you from the pain? It is the thought. It is the thought that separates you from the pain. So as long as the thought is there, the pain is there. When the thought is not there, is there pain? That's the question, you know.
Is that the following question? There's always thought. So how does thought come to an end?
So you cannot understand.
Well, I cannot understand.
You cannot understand. That's all that I am trying to point out.
Okay, so when I understand...
Don't say that. That's all. That is the end. That enlightened person would never say to himself or to anybody that I am an enlightened man. Now you see, I have set myself in the business and I am going to liberate you all. You know? That's a lot of nonsense.
There's a lot of people in that business.
Goodness gracious, there are so many. You become party to that. Without you there is no business, you know. I cease to be a holy businessman, that's all. Without you. I need you to set up business.
As a listener, follower.
Yeah.
It's a present.
Well, as long as it's not any interest one, it's all right.
Can we go back to that no beginning and no end? I mean, because there is no beginning, no end, because there is no experiencing structure that can experience it. Is that the?
Yes.
Is that why there's no beginning and no end?
Yes. I have to make a statement
Yes.
that it is beginningless and endless.
Right.
So take it or leave it. That's not part of your experience. That can never become part of your experience. So how are you going to experience the beginningless and endless thing? Through this structure which has a beginning and it has no end in your case. You see, you come into existence when the thought is born. Otherwise you are not there. So you are giving continuity to the thought. Otherwise the thought should go. It is in flashes, it is coming in impulses, the thought. You give continuity. As long as you feel the pain all the time, separate yourself from the pain, there is a continuity of thought. So it's not that you move on to somebody else, something else, you understand, another kind of a thing. Through that you are giving continuity. Whereas it has no continuity. Then the question is not there, but how am I going to experience a thing that has no beginning and that has no end? Otherwise it is a statement. Life has no beginning, life has no end. You see, life is a movement. And then has it any direction? These are not the questions of the movement of life. The river is not asking these questions, am I heading towards the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean or the Northern Sea? It's not. So what will happen to the movement next moment is not its question. When there is, you see, a block, either it overflows or takes a turn, something happens then when it is blocked by something. Otherwise it is flowing. So you should not push these similes to the logical conclusion. It is not conscious of its movement, but it has a consciousness of its own, the nature of which and the content of that consciousnness can never become part of this thinking structure. You cannot, don't try to experience a thing which it cannot experience. Then it stops. It doesn't stop, it falls in its natural rhythm. Thoughts will never disappear. Don't imagine that I am talking of a state where the thoughts will disappear completely and totally. The thought and life are not two separate things. Pain and thought are not two separate things, it is one. The thought separates itself from the pain and creates the you there. So otherwise it's moving all the time. It's a constant movement. It's always in flux, so you don't feel the pain so much. Like I say, so much, it's not a question of more and less. The pain for practical purposes, for all purposes, is not the pain at all in the sense in which you feel it.
I suppose I have a problem that the bells of the church are ringing, but I cannot hear them because I am busy with thoughts in my mind.
You are preoccupied.
Right.
Or you are trying to become one with that. You create an intense feeling of listening to the bells.
Well, I perceive that there's that flow of thought all the time,
Yes.
which makes a string between me
Between the ringing of the bells
and the ringing of the bells
and what you call you.
and what I call me.
Yes.
I feel puzzled about that. One asks a question that is, what am I to do about it? Am I supposed to do anything about it?
Yes. So if I tell you there is nothing to do there, and if somebody else says that there is something that you can do about it, where are you? I say there isn't anything that you can do about it. When you see that there isn't anything you can do about it, The puzzle remains a puzzle.
But my
And it
mind-
has the answer, it solves itself. You see, you must leave it as a puzzle.
When did you say there's an answer only if you look?
No, leave the puzzle as a puzzle, and then the puzzle solves itself. You don't have to do a thing. And how it solves itself, you can never capture that.
But there's one thing I don't understand.
Yes.
My mind works on the principle of pleasure. My mind always looks for
Yes.
pleasure.
Yes, all right. What is wrong with it?
Nothing.
Do you accept that?
Yeah, I do accept
You
that.
do accept that?
Sure.
So anybody talking anything against pleasure is out for you.
Right.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Huh?
Right.
You are finished with all talk against pleasure. You are not so sure. You are not so sure. You are not so sure of your statement. There isn't anything else other than pleasure for me. Full stop, period. So anybody talking anything about it, you see, doing something about it, has no meaning at all. Has it?
But if I perceive my mind to be greedy and even making illusion dreams because it wants more pleasure, so isn't it an escape? So what, am I supposed to let my mind just escape in dreams, in illusions?
Which you are in any case doing.
Well, okay, so
Well, don't say, why don't you say okay?
yes, okay.
No, look here, you see, I want you to stick to that, okay, there isn't anything else.
But no, that's not an okay because
That's what I'm saying, there, it is not an okay with you.
right.
Yes, to me, you see, it is an okay. So anybody talking against pleasure has no meaning at all to me. I won't touch that. I won't listen to that crap at all. So this is the reality. You are not looking at this. That is the escape. You are escaping from a reality. The everyday reality, everyday thinking. This is a fact. And all that talk, you see,
I'm nothing wrong against
wanting to
pleasure.
do something about this pleasure has no meaning at all.
Okay, so I have nothing wrong against pleasure, but against the fact that my mind escaped in illusion of dreams when
How is mind different from pleasure?
I am always with thoughts.
Yes, all right, you accept that.
What do I do with what you said about the fact
You,
that
you can't do anything. You can't do
what
anything.
you're saying is not relevant to me.
That is exactly what I am saying. It is not relevant to you at all. You cannot apply this. You cannot relate this to the way you are thinking and the way you are functioning. You and I can sit here for the next 40 years and you will carry on this dialogue, a meaningless dialogue, and it will remain a meaningless dialogue. So you have to come to a point where I don't understand a thing about what this chap is saying. You can walk out, it is just fine with me. See, so what is the point? You don't seem to realize that you cannot relate this
Okay, but
to the way you are functioning and the way you are thinking. So you have to accept the reality of that. That is the escape. That you can do something about it is the escape. You are bound to do that because you have separated yourself from the pleasure or pain or whatever. You don't want to be separate from the pleasure. There you want to be one with the pleasure. When there is what you call pain, you naturally want to separate yourself and then do something about it.
when you call it an escape, so the fact
You
that
called it, yes. All right.
Well, you said that I'm trying to escape thought because thought is pleasure, thought is pain. I want to hear the trees or the water or whatever, but I cannot because my perception is colored by my thoughts
Sure.
all the time.
So all right, somebody says, you see, listen to the river.
Well, I can see
Where are you? Listen to the river. You sit there, you see, every day. I don't know if you are doing it or not. Now I am going to listen to the river. How are you going to listen to the river? Through what you call thinking. You turn that into pleasure.
That's the question I'm asking you.
Yes? So there is no question of you listening to the river. As long as you are there, there is no listening to the river. Then the river listens to itself.
Okay, so how do I get rid of
Why do you ask how?
this? Because
What makes you think that you should get rid of this? This is my question. What for do you want to get rid of that? Because somebody has put this into your head?
because there's a flow of thought that I don't even want to think. I mean, when I want to think and I think, fine. But when I don't want to think and there's thought, I think there's a problem there. Or do I make the problem?
You say you don't want to think. That is also thinking. You look at that thought and tell me about all the thought you are talking about. It's a simple question. You seem to know all about that. I really don't know what this thought is, what this thinking is that you are talking about. I have no way of looking at it. I can't touch it, I can't feel it, I can't experience it. What I am talking is, you see, another movement of thought. This is all that I have realized. No matter what is happening there, it is one thought against another thought, one thought looking at another thought, one movement of thought looking at another movement of thought. As long as this parallel movement goes on and on and on and on, what you want to do about it is an impossible thing. This is the thing that you must first realize. What is thought? You ask yourself this question. What am I saying? What is it all that I am trying to communicate to this chap? You question that, put that question and look at that yourself. And you will see the impossibility of looking at what you call your own thought. Leave alone what to do about it, you see, whether to control or you see, change it into something else, or first look at that. If you can. I say you can't look at it.
Yeah, but nevertheless you say look at it.
I have to put it that way, you see, to make you see the impossibility of trying to
look at it the only way I can look at it.
You can't look at it, you have to say to you don't even have to say to yourself. If you say to yourself that I can't look at it, that means the thought is still going on and on and on. You can't say to yourself even, I don't seem to be able to look at it. That is also a thought. Through that you see the tricky thing is gathering momentum. I don't know if you say to yourself, I put it that way, I don't know. In order to give a feel about it, so that you may get the hang of what I am trying to point out. You can't say that to yourself. If you say that to yourself, I don't know, I can't look at it, it doesn't mean anything.
What did you mean the other day by the slowing down of thoughts? You said sometimes it begins
Naturally it
to
slows down, not you. It naturally slows down. I don't know what to do.
Not you, but with other people. How does it begin to slow
With
down?
me, with you, with everybody, it is the same. You still have a hope. This is your problem. Maybe I will be able to do this trick next time. Like, to come here next time and listen to me again, maybe you see I will be
I don't know
able
if I want to be hosted. I think you so know that. I'm not sure I want to be there.
You don't want to be
No, I'm not
you
sure
don't
I
want. Do you want to
will.
be yourself?
Oh, yes, myself.
How?
Whatever that state is.
How are you going to be yourself? There isn't anything you can do about it.
Maybe we don't have to do anything.
Yes. You are doing all the time. Listening to the talks, listening to the discussions, reading books, you know. You don't seem to realize the implications of your statement. I don't have to do anything about it. Anything that I do is taking me away, you see, from my natural state. That's all. Any movement in any direction, on any level, is taking me away from myself.
Even if it is so, life carries on.
In any case, it is going on, isn't it? Your thinking seems to have no relationship whatsoever with the way you are acting. that is totally unrelated. What I am saying, if you memorize and repeat it, it has no meaning. That's the way we have memorized all the religious jargon.
So really, there's nothing we have to worry about. The answer, the question you answered.
No? There are no questions anymore.
Because either we are going to carry on or not.
In any case, you are carrying on. Why do you doubt that?
Yes.
The life is going on in its own way, and you want to know if there is any meaning or not. How am I going to live? You see, all this is only to introduce the factor of how am I going to live. There is another way of living, you know. Spiritual life is far superior to the life of materialism. It is all one. You divide life into spiritual and material life. That is the beginning of our misery. Whoever started this misery is not the problem. So there is another way of living. There must be some other way of living. So that creates the problem. So I go here, there and everywhere, listen to this chap, that chap and another chap there. So what do I do about what the chap is saying? I begin to think. What do I want to think about it? What for do I want to think? To change this, you see, to do something about a thing which is running its own course, moving in its own way. Only when you want to cultivate some land, enrich and grow some food, you will use that water. You will put dams, you have the bunds everywhere to prevent the overflowing of the river. You are afraid. You want to do something. So everything that you see around is the product of thought. Everything you touch, everything you see, and yourself, what you call yourself, is born out of thought. This is the difficulty. So you want to control it, you want to shape it, you want to do something about it and get something out of it. What for? You want to apply it, you see, to change. To do something about, you see, the way this is functioning, the way the things are going on.
Is it a difficulty? I mean, what we are doing, is it a difficulty?
It's a meaningless thing, that's all that I'm saying. What you are doing is a meaningless thing.
I don't know.
You are not so sure.
Say that.
Huh?
What about meditation? This methods of meditation, Zen meditation, or other kinds
now,
of meditation.
wouldn't you say that we are doing like a child is doing? And you can't say a child is doing some meaning.
Why do you always bring child?
Or every other...
You are a child even now, I tell you. You are a child. You say, this is not a discouraging statement,
now,
please.
what we are doing...
Look here, what you are doing there inside of you is what the child is doing, repeating. All the time, what you have been taught, what you have been told, it's the same thing. Every time you look at it, you say to yourself, it's a table. Or when there is a feeling, this is me, this is I. You see, I am feeling pain, I am feeling pleasure, I am happy, I am unhappy. You are repeating, you see, this is the same thing like a child.
I can feel there's nothing wrong.
That is the senility. Not the old age, not when the brain cells become weak, but when you are healthy and strong, when the brain is functioning normally, you are repeating this. This is wearing you out. This is senility. Senility, or I don't know how you pronounce that word. Repetitive thing. You are repeating all the time a thing which has no relationship whatsoever with the way you are functioning.
But this senility is a part of this movement.
Do you mean that the way we're functioning is the natural state, in spite of the fact that we don't know it?
You are wearing it out all the time.
But that is the
You are
natural
destroying. You are destroying the full potential. You see, the peak capacity, you see, of the senses. You are interfering with them all the time. What I am saying is just a simple thing. Living the life of senses. I'm not suggesting sensuality, that's not what I mean. Just to let the senses operate in their own way at their peak capacity. If you begin to think, then you are interfering with the senses and the sensitivity is gone. Not the sensitivity of the mind. I don't like to use that word sensitivity at all.
don't you think it would be a help if you say that we are not functioning repetitively? Wouldn't you think it would help us to live the life of the senses by not pointing out that we are something different from living the life of the senses? Maybe we are already living.
That is what I am saying. You are in your natural state. Why don't you
let this repetition and
thinking, repeating that is a mountain. That's all.
Isn't that also?
You see, you are thirsty, you are hungry. You say to yourself, I am thirsty. You don't have to say to yourself, you just go and get some water and drink. This is an automatic action. This has an intelligence there, built-in intelligence there. Why do you have to say to yourself that I am thirsty? You say to yourself, I am hungry. You say to yourself. You don't have to do that. If there is thirst, it quenches itself. Is that the word? The thirst quenches itself. It's thirst. You don't have to do anything about it. You see, what happens is the intelligence that is functioning there automatically drags you to the faucet or wherever the water is there. If there is no water, you will then ask somebody else. So in exactly the same way, all the other activities of the body.
And we keep interfering with it.
Unnecessarily, there is no meaning.
Saying that we are not living the life of senses and someone is living the life of...
It is obvious that you are not living the life of senses to me. It is not obvious to you. If you are living this life of the senses, or if the senses were living their own life, you wouldn't ask all these questions. You would never ask these questions. He's asking about meditation. Meditation is, that's a dreadful word. I don't like to use that word at all. That is the natural state. It is always meditative, you see, not in the sense in which you use the word meditative, wonder, puzzle. The puzzle is the meditation. You are wondering what that mountain is. So what they call mountain.
We are.
You see, there is glare there, and you want to prevent the glare, because you are afraid that it will hurt your eyes. So in exactly the same way, this is affecting you. You are putting an armor around yourself because you don't want to be hurt. That is the purpose of this conversation. If there is any purpose, I don't know if there is any purpose at all.
We don't want to be unknowing. We want to know every damn thing.
Yes, this is hurting you. You have a vested interest in something else. That is why you don't want to be influenced by what I am saying or what anybody is saying.
Not influenced, but so much as I want to listen correctly, get it correctly. Not
distorted.
Not unbalanced by what you're saying. But we need to get it so that so that there's no imbalance. You see, because it's
what does it matter if it disturbs the whole thing?
Yes,
and some kind of a disequilibrium comes into being. What does it matter?
Now, when you say it doesn't matter,
what does it matter?
So it's
you have nothing to lose there.
Yes.
You are afraid that you will lose something which you consider very precious.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. To you it seems to matter. To you it seems to matter very much. That's why you are blocking this. You are ducking. You have nothing to lose. Nothing. You have nothing to lose. Yourself. What you call yourself. Yes. Sure. That is more important than anything else in this world. The most important thing for you is to realize that you are doing all the time.
Because I still believe that I can help to stop that happening.
Natural, that is natural. Why don't you accept that natural thing? So I am finished for you. You see, if you accept that natural thing, all this talk about doing something about the thought is finished for you. Once you accept the natural, The natural thing falls in its natural rhythm. Then there is nothing to do there. You don't have to control, you don't have to do a thing about it. As long as you listen to somebody, a chap like me, you are in trouble.
I think what
It's obvious, no?
Yes, it's obvious. That's what you have been doing all your life. If not this, somebody else, Some Sai Baba comes tomorrow. It's with all the miracles. And he will give you some trinkets and then you fall for it. Somebody touches here, you see some blue light or green light, yellow light, God knows what. He promises you enlightenment.
And you promise nothing?
Nothing. I have nothing to give.
Still people are coming?
Why do you bother about others? Maybe you are here for curiosity or for fun. So are others, perhaps.
Well, anyway, it's a show, isn't it?
For who? If you are out, look here. You see, if you do not involve yourself in this show, you are finished with this show. Why do you encourage this show? Why do you support this show by being present here? Huh? If others do it, don't bother. You see.
Well, if I wasn't there,
Why?
I would be in a cafe.
All right, this is you prefer this to cafe?
No, not cafes all the time.
Yeah, there are not enough entertainments for you.
Well, if you're giving nothing, why bother?
That's what I'm asking you. Why bother coming here at least to get some
No, let
tapping?
me put it on your chair. Why bother?
That is, why are you concerned about me?
No, I'm not saying.
That's what I'm saying. This is a question which everybody asks.
Well, you're giving a show.
Yes.
I'm acting
Leave this
on
to show.
that person.
Leave this to show.
But that's what you're saying.
Yes.
But you're not asking. Well,
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
But I want
Why do you want to support this show by your presence? That's all I'm asking.
All right, then I'm
So why?
asking,
Yeah.
what-
Don't.
When
No, you
you're
are
doing a
finished with
show-
this. You are finished with this show. Finished. You are finished with this show.
You know what I'm saying about that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But if you have not finished them, so they mean something for you also, these shows, for this
They
conversation.
don't mean anything to me.
Then why they are, we have more and more of them? Why?
Isn't that a question which you should ask yourself?
Because I want to have something from you.
Because
that
yes,
is the reality.
That's
The reality is that.
Yes, because as long as you
So now
want
let's do it.
something from somebody else, you create some show or the other, somewhere or the somewhere or other, I don't know.
I want that you
don't
help
want
me
to-
to understand something, I don't know what, but the central problem of life
I am
is
saying that
deep.
there isn't anything to understand.
Now, that makes
Yet
your
you're
show a
part
bit
of-
different
Yes.
from other shows.
No. Yes.
As far as I'm concerned,
You make this a different
as far as
show.
I'm concerned, there is a difference. You see. Now, I come to see a show. Now, the other show may be telling me of something else, not the show. You know. Now, this show obviously says I'm the show. Now, there is something.
Even I was saying-
You have the show.
No. He was saying you are the show.
No, he says
No,
he tells you.
I mean, this show obviously is different as far as I'm concerned.
Why don't you once question this? Why do I create this show for myself and for others?
Because this show says something very different from other shows.
How would you answer that question? as well?
That's the beginning of your misery.
You think?
That is the beginning of your self-deception. This show is different from other shows. The cigarette I smoke is better than the other brands of cigarettes. That's all. I'm saying sorry, I don't have anything to peddle here. You see, I'm not a cigarette peddler, or I'm not peddling any bum dopes here at all. That's all that I'm saying. You say, you see, you have something, you are hiding them, you see, in some secret place. Take them out, give it to me, you are saying. I say, there isn't anything here.
But that's the peddling.
Huh? What is the peddling?
You are peddling nothing. And nothing is your peddling game.
All right. Well,
That seems to me...
But that's, that's nonsense. You know? I agree with that. But still, he is peddling. And so you say...
Don't buy, I'll be out of business tomorrow.
He's not peddling.
I'll close my shop. So don't peddle and don't buy anything from me. It's finished.
No, I don't want to...
Buy anything.
No, to run out of business, anything like
You are
that.
most welcome.
But I would like very much to hear something that is not part of that peddling game. Some demystification of the peddling itself.
So you still think that there is some mystification here. How can I help it? No, there is nothing mystifying about it. I'm not doing anything. You don't seem to
But you
understand.
still there.
Because you are here, I am here. This is my answer. You know,
Why are you in Sandy, Doctor?
I live here.
You live here all the time?
Yes,
But
I live here
For a long time?
and for a long time. 20 years I've been coming here.
But this natural state.
20 years. Long before any circus started here in this land.
You know, this natural state.
Is your state.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, if you don't want to accept it, that's the end.
That's what you're peddling.
Yes, all right.
Saying you're not peddling it.
Yeah, but
Peddling.
repeat that 100 times and this will record.
No.
Yes, 100 times I'm peddling. Then what?
Am I being difficult?
No, you are not difficult. You are very natural.
Being yourself.
You are
very easy. If there is a challenge, intelligence is just responding. If we ask something, he is just responding. It doesn't make any difference for him that we are here or not. But if we are asking, he's responding with his best, with himself.
I agree with that.
Yes. What we think is right. We think is right to say that we can be deceived by many priests, by many things, but many. No, he's telling us this. Nothing.
So you say there isn't anything such thing as enlightenment. You just said it, the first thing you said.
so, yes.
There isn't any such thing.
There
You said this
isn't any.
non-existent thing.
Yes,
enlightenment.
you are searching for a thing which does not exist at all.
And you asked him, you said,
Acceptance of that
Yeah,
fact
for
is the
somebody
most
else.
difficult thing. As long as you want enlightenment, you will shop around, you will look around, you will go here, there and everywhere. So, if there is no such thing as enlightenment, then what happens? Somebody else assures you that there is. I am an enlightened man. You see a list, a whole long list of the enlightened people and their teachings. So where are you? So if there is any such thing as enlightenment, what is it? You have to ask that question. What is that enlightenment? Then what comes inside of you is all that you have been told. That's all. If that is so, why do you continue to do for years and years and years and years? That you are gathering information about this enlightenment from Oriental scriptures, from Occidental scriptures, from the newest of the Messiahs and the Avataras. Everybody is doling this, is that the word? And then you are adding to that, you see, and then what all you are doing is you are thinking about it. So through thinking, you are not going to be enlightened at all. Somebody is supplying you the grist for your mill, and then this mill is working all the time. So when the mill stops, I don't know if it stops at all, so then you see there is nothing there to say to itself, now I am an enlightened person. That's all that I say.
The same applies.
We forget enlightenment, you see, anything you
The
want.
same applies to our misery, right?
Yes, there is no misery, I say.
Yes, there's no enlightenment, no misery.
They are one and the same.
So one has
That is it.
to go much more.
Look here, search for enlightenment creates the misery for you. That's all.
So I think this is
When the search comes to an end, there is no misery there. What you call misery is the result of your search for what you call enlightenment, what you call the image you have. So comparing persons is absurd.
but
You-
still the misery is not real. The misery. Still the misery that you find out in us is not so. It's not real.
The misery is not there.
Yes.
You see, the misery
When
is
you say
there.
that the misery in us, you
Is the
mean that
such
it
wa-
is not there at all.
You know, as long as you search for enlightenment, the misery is there. So, misery and enlightenment are one and the same. What you call enlightenment is misery. You don't want to put them on the same level. It is that is creating you misery. The image you have created from what people have talked about this state, blessedness, beatitude, immensity, and God knows what, all these phrases. So it is that phrase, wanting to be in that state or wanting to create that, you see, inside of you, the feeling about it or experiencing that is creating the misery. So misery is enlightenment. What you call misery is enlightenment. So when the enlightenment is not there, the misery is not there too.
So the enlightenment is just as unreal as misery.
Both are the same.
So you shouldn't say that there is misery.
No, I said there is no misery either. When the search for enlightenment, search for happiness, search for truth, search for God, or what you will,
What is this?
is not
Where
there.
is this search?
Huh?
Where is this search?
Search is thinking about it, wanting to be a self-realized man, wanting to be an enlightened man,
Wanting to be free from misery.
wanting to be free from misery, wanting to be happy,
Is it there?
wanting to have pleasure all the time, there's nothing wrong, I say. But what I am suggesting is that you are only thinking about pleasure,
And terribly striving in order to
to have pleasure. You see, the absence of this is pleasure or misery, or call it by whatever name you like.
It becomes all a terrible work just to find the person, to reach the person, to find the place. And we also try to recognize a state as a happy state. If you play
Is it all that distressing as you
I am
describe
not
it?
in the position. I have not reached anything because it sounds me not pleasant. This is stupid. I try to recognize. And I had in my mind that it should be a very great transcendental experience, full of happiness. Who knows?
As long as you,
There's nobody there to experience death, so in the same way there's nobody there to so-called experience enlightenment. Who is the you?
Look here, what I am trying to say, very briefly and very simply and very directly, is this. And that enlightenment, that thing called enlightenment or happiness, you can string a number of words to that, cannot be experienced, that can never become part of the experiencing structure. You are trying to experience a thing which you cannot experience. Why you want to experience that is very simple. through that experience you are giving continuity to the experiencing structure. Through that you are giving continuity. So if I have that enlightenment, all my miseries will disappear. All your miseries are there because you are reaching out for something which does not exist. This is all that I am saying. So you cannot experience your natural state, being or becoming, and all that is nonsense. You have to realize this basic thing that can never become part of your experiencing structure. Why you want to experience that is to give continuity. Which defeats it. I don't know. Through this you want to continue. Your interest is somehow to continue the way you have known and the way you have experienced yourself all these years. That you want to continue. So if I get that enlightenment or self-realization, you see, I will continue on a different level, on a higher level, in higher spheres. I will be a transformed individual. I tell you, nothing is going to change. If you are a dacoit, even after enlightenment, you remain a dacoit. Not that he will continue. So if you are a liar, you will continue to be a liar. But you lie without a second thought. Then then there are no more lies. The fear is not there. If you commit a murder, you will commit, without a second thought, and no matter what the consequences will be. It is as simple as all that. It has nothing to do with all the image you have created about this enlightenment. Not that you will go on continuing. You see, it's not that. The softy business means gentle soft. You see, you mustn't raise your voice. All this is Victorian era business. That we are not interested in. Edwardian era stuff we are not interested in at all. You can kill somebody. I tell you, it has nothing to do with non-violence. Not that you will go on, dropping bombs everywhere. That's not what I mean. It has nothing to do with the image you have of that. The image is the most preposterous thing. And you are searching for a thing that does not exist, that is blinding you. Yesterday I quoted what we learned in the philosophy class. It is like a blind man searching for a black cat in a dark room which does not exist. That's all. That's all that you are doing.
How does the black cat get
It is not there, I say. You put the black cat there. Isn't it? What a funny life we are all leading. It's really funny. Here comes spending so much money, It's really a funny thing to realize this simple thing.
in a natural state?
Yes, first be in your natural state.
No. May I ask you?
Yes.
Being in a natural state.
I have answered the question.
Any peculiar experience?
Nothing.
Nothing?
You cannot experience anything there.
The person who is in the natural state.
Will know that.
Any descriptions about
All that he will know for himself. He doesn't listen to somebody else's description. So be in your natural state.
Yes, but I'm asking you.
What good is that? That will put you on a wrong track.
Well, put me on the wrong track.
No, I don't want to.
Why not? That means that there's something there. So you're hiding something?
No, I'm not hiding anything.
You said you didn't want to say something.
No.
What is it that you don't want to say?
I have said all that is there to be said.
No, you're not. You just said something good, and I'm
You sure you've got a goodie that you aren't giving?
Yeah,
lollipop behind you?
No, I think
Shall we
you
stop
know.
now?
I think we stop now.